Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, 5 minutes after 9 o'clock, it's time for Veterans News. Hank Whittier is in the studio. Good morning, Hank.
Hey, good morning. Hey, I'm here.
You're here.
I didn't start off like I did last week, did I?
You got
Sorry about that.
You got to drive now, don't you? You can't just walk here anymore.
No, I have to drive back. But it's worth it, Larry.
I hope so.
Anything to talk to the folks today and let a little information out. Listen, we do have casualties, and then a little bit later on, we're going to talk about the Monroe Hospital a little bit. And a few other things. Mike Sizemore is here. You got a phone? Let's. Who is that? Is that one of our guys?
I believe it's the sheriff's office.
Okay,
I'm not sure.
Yeah, they do have some casualties out there.
Okay, you want to go?
Sure, absolutely.
Straight there. Okay. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. How are y'all?
Hey, we're doing good. Who's this?
Good. Terry Bavard, Hank.
Hey, Terry. How you doing, bud?
Good, sir. Yourself?
I'm doing good. Didn't have much chance to talk to you the other day.
No, we're kind of busy, but everything's well at the sheriff's office this morning.
You know what? Before you get in, it is well at the sheriff's office, despite all the headlines the last few weeks. And I wanted to say it the other day, but I kind of got caught up in it. You guys need to walk tall because this community is very proud of you guys out there, and you do a good job. And I know you're going through some stuff right now, but that sheriff's department is well thought of, well respected, and deservingly so. So I hope you pass that on to the troops. That's how most of the citizens feel, anyway.
Yes, sir.
So I want to tell you. I meant to say something the other day in front of everybody, and I kind of get busy with things, but. Thank you for what you all do out there, okay?
Well, thank you and for the kind words. And, this is a great organization, and it will carry on to be a great organization well into the future.
And you got some casualties,
Yes, sir, I do. Unfortunately, we got several of them. The first one is a Sergeant Paul Hernandez, and Paul Hernandez was with the Texas Highway Patrol Department of Safety. Paul had 35 years with the agency and suffered a fatal heart attack while working on duty. The next we have is Andrew David Fox, and Andrew was in the Virginia State Police. He was struck and killed by a vehicle at an intersection and basically succumbed to his injuries due to that accident. And I have no idea how long he was with the force because it wasn't provided, but he was survived by his wife. The next one is Jonathan Molina. Jonathan was with the El Paso Police Department. He was 29 years old. He was succumbed to his injuries 10 days ago, or from an injury sustained 10 days ago, I might add, doing a severe beating by a subject he was arresting. He was with also with the United States Marine Corps. He was a veteran with them, and he was with the department for 4 years. He's 29 years of age. The next is Police Officer Peter Nealon. Peter was with the Worcester Police Department in Massachusetts. His end of watch was October the 7th, and Peter was struck and hit by a drunk driver on the 18th. He was 62 years old, had 14 years with them, and he is survived by his brother and two sisters. And the last we have is Trooper Blake Cobble. Trooper Cobble was with the Pennsylvania State Police Department, and he was killed after colliding with a tractor-trailer while on duty, and the actual vehicle ran a stop sign and collided with him. He was 48 years old, and he's survived by his two children and his wife. Unfortunately, or fortunately, probably for her, she is a dispatcher for the agency, so I know she'll be giving all the love and the care. And I want to thank you for the kind words, Hank, and maybe next week we won't have any to report.
That would be nice. I look forward. I always look forward to when we don't have casualties, firemen, police officers, soldiers. That's the day we look forward to.
Yes,
and
sir.
In the meantime, you and all those folks out there, stay safe, my friend.
All righty. Thank you, Hank.
Okay, we do have casualties from Afghanistan primarily and some few others, but Bob?
Okay, sir. Starting off with Army casualties, Sergeant First Class Daniel T. Metcalf, 29, of Liverpool, New York. He was killed in Afghanistan. He was assigned to the 2nd Battalion, 503rd Infantry Regiment, 173rd Airborne Brigade Combat Team out of Venezia, Italy. I probably pronounced that one wrong.
I wouldn't worry about it.
And other Army casualties in the Afghanistan Wardak province was Warrant Officer Joseph L. Shariro, 27 of Coral Springs, Florida. Staff Sergeant Justin C. Marquez, 25 of Aberdeen, North Carolina. They were both assigned to the 1st Special Forces Battalion, 3rd Special Forces Group, Airborne out of Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Also, as a Marine, Sergeant Camilla M. Stidley, 31 of San Diego, died in the Afghanistan Himlan province. She was assigned to the Combat Logistic Regiment 17, 1st Marine Logistic Group, 1st Marine Expeditionary Force out of Camp Pendleton, California. Also Navy, Culinary Specialist 2nd Class Milton W. Brown, 28 of Dallas, Texas. He was assigned to Strike Fighter Squadron VFA 137, Lemoore, California. And we had one other one. I have misplaced it. Sorry. Here it is. James J. Jaquez, United States Marine Corps. He was killed in a mission in Southeast Asia. Has been returned, and he was buried at Arlington.
Okay. Another one of those missing in actions. They just found the remains.
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay.
Back in 74.
Very good. Okay. Anybody have anybody local they want to mention? Nobody?
No.
Okay, let's go ahead and take, do you Amazing Grace and see where we go from there, guys. Thank you.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved.
Is that me again?
That's you.
I'm always running my mouth off
business.
to you. Well, we're talking about outrages. Do you guys watch C-SPAN? You ought to watch C-SPAN. Larry, you watch C-SPAN.
I have, yes.
C-SPAN is outstanding. I watched the hearings yesterday on the embassy mess. And those bureaucrats are up there doing a two-step. And I know some of it's political and all of that, but C-SPAN is really a service, and you ought to watch those hearings. Right now, the hearings were on the mess in Libya and what happened and why there wasn't protection for the embassy there, the consulate there. And it sure appears that they had two people who worked, the two security guys who worked, Lieutenant Colonel Wood and I forget the other fellow's name, who were in charge of security there, had requested over a long period of time for additional help and were denied.
Yeah. And I personally have a problem when a program topic, they spend 10 minutes on the topic and they spend 30 minutes on commentary by the guy that's leading it.
Yeah. Well, a lot of
that's a little bit concerning.
of it's posturing, and I understand that, but there are legitimate issues there, and I really listened closely to the two security experts who said, hey, we repeatedly asked for help.
There is
repeatedly.
supposed to always be a contingency of Marines.
Well,
always in every embassy in the
apparently-
United States and everywhere else. There's always a contingency
there wasn't
of Marines.
here, and you listen to the rhetoric, because what the State Department was saying, well, they had people, but they were people who worked for the state. You know what they were? They were hired help from the local community. That's what they were.
Yeah.
And that's I'm sorry, that's not the same.
Contingency of Marines is supposed to be at every embassy overseas.
Obviously, they weren't.
And the other question is, was it based on those people watching that tape that was anti-Muhammad? And it wasn't. Had nothing to do with it. There wasn't any kind of demonstration. But initially, that's what we were told, and it turns out you ought to. But again, I want to compliment
Watching
C-SPAN
yeah.
is just outstanding, and you get to hear the testimony, you get to see the people how they react to the questions. Take away the political posturing, you got to do that, but it's a mess out there. But C-SPAN does a great job. I'm in a complimentary mood about some things.
You better compliment your sponsors.
Well, we will get there, Michael.
All right.
Don't panic.
I'm trying to guide you.
I
like the people with the money.
You overreact. Well, speaking of money, the Heart Walk. The Heart Walk
Boy,
is
I'm proud of the
outstanding.
vets.
Over 3,000 people. A lot of veterans out there. No, there were so many people. I didn't see you.
You didn't see me?
I was out
He
front.
saw me because he took a picture of
Well,
me.
that's because I was out front.
Oh, that's right. Because
I
I
was-
was glad.
I had-
In fact, I was so tired by the time I got there, they was taking the sign down.
I had point. Actually, Michael and I, where we parked, we had to walk 5 miles from where we parked.
Who was that pushing you in a wheelchair, Curly?
Congratulations to the Heart Walk people and
Indeed.
Steve Pelosi and all the folks associated, all you veterans, all you other groups who participated. I think they met and exceeded their goal. I don't have a final count. Maybe we can get them in here and give us a final count. It was a heck of a crowd, over 3,000 people.
Impressive.
Outstanding. Ties me into to Ford Lincoln and Ford Lincoln of Ocala. They were one of the big sponsors, and Steve Pelosi was the chairman this year of the Heart Walk. Outstanding job, but that's the kind of thing Ford Lincoln does. They do a lot of things in the community. They sell good products. They service their vehicles, and and when they make money or they don't make money, they're still good to the community.
Right.
So try to
They
do
are.
some business with them. Our other folks are
Robertson's Funeral Home and Cemeteries here in Ocala, been so for the last 125 years or so, and they will assist you in your hour of need at the last moments.
Do you notice how they smile at Hank when he walks in all the time?
Well, they've
That
already
big
got
grin.
him. Sir, you are unaware, probably.
Well, I'm a
but
model.
He's
I'm
a
a
model
model.
for him.
Yeah.
And he's got a special deal set up for him.
If you were to just kind of touch my face a little bit, you see some of that cosmetics will come off.
They
They make me up every morning. Can only imagine what I would look like if I weren't made up every morning.
I wanted to make one more point about that heart. This is one thing I'm so proud about Marion County. The heart of Marion County is massive, and when we have a need in the community, these folks show up,
Yep.
and that's the evidence of it.
Oh, I was
And that's
impressed.
one of the great things about Marion County.
Really impressed.
And our veterans community.
Yeah,
as
I was
well.
impressed with everybody, and everybody
Yeah.
who did a great job. Hey, Dyer, come on in. Come on in, grab a
Diana
seat,
Michelle.
and we'll talk a little bit. Got a couple of guys who want to have a few announcements first. So, Chaplain, I know you wanted to talk about something briefly. You got some things coming up this weekend.
Yes,
And
indeed.
then later in the year, and we'll have you in a little bit later on, talking
That'll
about
be
the big
great.
event. But what's coming up this weekend?
October 13th, this Saturday at $1,300, 1 o'clock p.m., we're having a fundraiser dinner at the VFW Candler. This is called the Wreaths Across America. This is a national organization that was started a few years ago. One gentleman saw the need that our cemeteries are not decorated during the holiday season, and so he took it upon himself to volunteer to buy 1,000 wreaths. And now this has become a national program. It's for 50 national cemeteries over that. And last year, our particular chapter, your chapter, United States Military Vets Motorcycle Club, Marion County, raised over $4,400 for these wreaths across America. They are $15 a wreath, and I'm also Secretary-Treasurer for the Military Chapel Association of Marion County, and so we don't have much money, but we've volunteered to buy one wreath, and that will be given to them this Saturday. And the fundraiser is VFW Post 4493 at Southeast Maricamp Road in Candler, Florida. And the Wreaths Across America project has three main missions, or three goals. Remember, those who have fallen, honor those that served, and teach our children the value of freedom. We will have the national decoration on December 15th, but this is our first fundraiser, and we encourage you to come out. Bring your money. It's $10 per plate, and we will feed you till you can't sit straight. And so we thank you for your attendance, and we hope to see you there. This is Chappie.
Yeah, if they want to get a hold of you, Chappie, how do they get a hold of you?
We have on the flyer here, I'll leave a couple flyers. You can call Donnie, and it has a phone number, 352-438-7112. Our Superman, who are the two guys in charge of it, 352-233-8111. Or personally, you can call me at 352-425-9142. I'm Chappie, the chaplain for United States Military Vets Motorcycle Club, Marion County.
Okay, buddy, I appreciate you coming in. And we'll have you a little bit later on in the year to talk about that December event as well, and all the good stuff that's happening.
Yes, sir.
Curly, you got anything you want to talk about?
Oh, good morning, Ocala, Marion County. Once again, it is Yo Curly, as everybody calls him, but I'm also the commander of the VFW Post 7193, and I'm reminding you once again that Brady Owens, VFW Post 7193, along with the Ladies Auxiliary, is having his charity ball dinner dance, and it starts it's on Saturday, November the 10th, which is also the Marine Corps' birthday ball. But we're having our charity ball dinner dance, and it's going to be at the Elks Club at 702 Northeast 25th Avenue in Ocala. And it starts promptly at 7 p.m. And the doors open at 6 p.m. and the seating starts at 6:30, and the music and the seating starts at 6:30 p.m. And we ask everybody to come on out and enjoy themselves. The chairpersons is Charles Laurier and Rodeo Hall, the chairpersons. And the tickets are the same as it was last year, $35 per person. And we ask them because this is an event that will help us build the community center / VFW Post Home. We asking that everybody come on out and enjoy yourselves for that particular evening. And everybody who participated last year, we ask that you once again donate and participate this year. We have a page for the ones who would just like to have their names mentioned, and we also have some pages there for the sponsors. So come one, come all, and enjoy this once a year event.
Okay, very good. Robert, you don't have anything, or do you?
No, sir, I don't have anything.
Okay, I want to thank you for all the hard work you've been putting in to help us with that move. You've been doing a lot of stuff down there. I appreciate it. I certainly couldn't do it, and thank you.
No.
Thank you for doing that.
Well, Bob's the epitome of volunteering.
He really does. He's been down there daily. I can't tell you all the stuff he's doing, including a lot of the fixing.
Well, I had 6 other veterans helping.
But you've been doing it, Robert. We know who's doing it. Just briefly, and then we'll get into that maybe next week a little bit. But one of the things that upsets a lot of veterans is what we just picked up off the news services about our friends at the VA again.
I'm sure you all have heard of some of the reports where the VA has been engaging in this what they call conferences and educational opportunities for staff. Turns out to be it's nothing more than a party time. Millions and millions of dollars are being spent, wasted by the VA on these getaways, and in fact, their budget went from $24 million in 05, Hank, to $77 million in 11.
Yeah,
And
just for conferences now. That's
just for conferences, that's right. Most recently, there's a report the VA spent millions on conferences in Vegas and Nashville. More and more keep coming out, Hank.
Yeah, it's just one of the congressmen, I think it's Miller, just keeps on talking about more is yet to come. And you know what? If in good times you might say, well, okay, listen, they got to be trained, but this is party time. When you go to Las Vegas and you're bringing people in during the winter months to go to Orlando, that's a party. And you can see that further in the article they talk about limousine services and helicopter rides that they accepted from lobbyists. I mean, that's totally wrong, particularly when they're telling veterans there's not enough money to serve them, not enough money to hire staff, not enough money to improve certain clinics when they're wasting that kind of money.
Or
$77
just to
million.
treat them.
Or treat them. I mean, that's a lot of money that ought to be used for direct care. What we asked, and we're going to ask some of our congressmen and senators to see if we can't find out how many of our local administrators have been attending some of these conferences, because we've talked to them repeatedly about more help for veterans in this area, and the excuse we get, love to do it, but we just don't have the money,
Yeah,
well, that's a bunch of BS. Listen, we're going to take you have a phone call? If you do, we'll take the phone call, then we got to go and take a break, and then we got Dyer Michelle and Mike Sizemore coming in, talking about the Friends of Monroe.
Good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning, Hank.
Hey, Sonny, how you?
All right, hanging in there. You know, whatever happened to this outfit called the GAO that used to go around General Accounting Office?
Yeah. Well, I think they're the model for wasting money, I think. Aren't they?
Well, they used to do a pretty good job.
Yeah, well...
But all of a sudden you don't hear anything, just like you don't hear anything about bank audits anymore.
Yeah.
Just something to think about.
Well, I think again, too. I agree with you, Sonny. Where is the accounting offices? Where the people are supposed to be on top of this? And what usually it is some whistleblower comes forward and tells a congressman someplace, and then the news comes out. It tells a news agency. All the more reason we need to be a little bit more vigilant as citizens to keep an eye on things. You do, but you're kind of the exception to the rule. But we all need to be doing that. Sonny, I'm going to take a break because I got Dyer, and we want to talk about Monroe a little bit, and we'll be back. Okay? Thank you, Sonny.
Plumbing. I see. Ooh. We can try to fix that. I'll send someone right over. How's the third Wednesday of next month sound? Say between the hours of 8 a.m. and 8 p.m.? Would that be fine? Of course it will. Now I'll just need your credit card information.
Does that sound all too familiar? Well, next time, call Mike Scott Plumbing. If water runs through it, we do it. We schedule around your time, not ours. And we have straight time, anytime, all the time. That means we're on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we don't charge extra for nights, weekends, or holidays. We install traditional and tankless water heaters, repipes, drain repair, septic service and installation, irrigation systems, new construction, remodels, bathrooms, kitchens, even gas line installation and service. And we've been doing it all for over 25 years. So call today, 237-2888. That's 237-2888. And remember, if water runs through it, we do it. Mike Scott Plumbing.
Habitat for Humanity of Marion County is a ministry dedicated to improving lives by providing affordable and decent housing. Help them help others by visiting the Habitat for Humanity Ocala home store on Northwest 27th Avenue. To schedule a donation, give them a call and they'll come and pick it up. For more information, visit habitatocala.org. Habitat for Humanity of Marion County, building homes, building hope, building community.
Life's journey has many ups and downs, but you can take comfort in the knowledge that Robert's Funeral Home is here to serve you and your family with loving care and dignity. The Roberts family has been providing their caring services since 1898 and offer traditional, custom, cremation, and veteran services. Pre-made arrangements are also available. Roberts Funeral Homes. Great funeral homes serve great people.
Have you looked at your tires lately? I thought so. Right now at Ford Lincoln of Ocala's Completely Satisfied Service Center, they're having a big tire event. Purchase 4 tires from their entire Goodyear, Continental, Pirelli, Hancock, or Dunlop lineup and receive a $60 cash rebate. Not bad, eh? What if Ford Lincoln of Ocala's Service Center gave you an additional $60 cash rebate when you put your entire purchase on your Ford Service credit card? There. Now you just saved $120 using your Ford Service credit card and get 6 or 12 months no-interest financing with minimum monthly payments. Sounds good, right? Let's back that big tire event with Ford Lincoln of Ocala's low-price tire guarantee to beat any competitor's pricing on the tires they sell. Chances are you probably need new tires or getting close. Drive into Ford Lincoln of Ocala's Completely Satisfied Service Center today and take advantage of their $60 cash rebate on major tire brands and an additional $60 rebate using your Ford Service credit card. The big tire event going on now at Ford Lincoln of Ocala. Find out more at fordofocala.com or call 732-4800.
So what did you do with your weekend? Me? I was flying, because I'm taking flying lessons from Ocala Aviation. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, hey, I'd like to give that a shot, but I'm not quite sure. Well, I've got the solution. It's called the Discovery Flight, and that's exactly what it is. It helps you discover the wonder of flying and if it's for you. It's only $99, and it gives you the chance to learn a bit more about the airplane and then actually go for a ride with a flight instructor and take control of the airplane. That's how I got started, and now I'm on my way to being a pilot. I know, scary thought, right? But the demand for qualified pilots is stronger than ever, and with the help of Ocala Aviation, you could make a career change and learn to be a commercial pilot. But it all starts with a Discovery Flight. So stop by the flight school, conveniently located at the Ocala Airport, visit the website at ocalaaviation.com, or call 861-7484. That's 861-7484. Ocala Aviation. Your adventure starts here.
This is Wendy and Will of Dex Imaging. By now, you might be tired of hearing us talk about Dex. So instead of us telling you how much Dex can save you on your copier costs and how we can help your office be more efficient, we thought we'd let Judy tell you.
Hi, I'm Judy, the office manager of Graper Facial Institute here in Gainesville. We operate 8 medical offices, so I was looking for a document management system that would copy, scan, print, and share documents among all of our locations, but something that was within our budget. Dex Imaging recommended a Kyocera with their Index solution. It's been amazing. This machine does everything we need it to, including a direct scan into our current electronic medical record software. Dex even trained us on how to use it. Dex has been a tremendous help in making our practice and my job more efficient.
Thanks, Judy. And remember, call Dex Imaging today for a free workflow analysis to find out how you can save 20 to 30% on your copying and document management needs, just like Graper Facial Institute. Dex Imaging, 352-224-1816. That's 224-1816.
WOCA.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
All right, 27 minutes before 10 o'clock. Let's rejoin Hank Whittier in Veterans News. Hank?
And we're back. And as we always do, we try to bring in, current subjects, things that are important to the community. This one is probably one of the most important things we're going to talk about this year, and that's the future of Monroe Regional Medical Center and all the things that go with it. And it's sort of, there's a referendum coming up in November. It's going to be on the ballot. And I've asked Mike Sizemore and Dyer Michelle, who are friends of Monroe, to come in and talk about it a little bit. And, I've talked to them already and told them I was certainly going to support it and was there because I do understand the value of that hospital and what it brings to this community. Most of us in the room do. I think we all in the room do, but understand it. But, the vast majority of the public doesn't really understand some of these things. And I'm hoping you guys can come in today and explain it to us, kind of bring us up to date what's happening, and how important that referendum is, and really explain what's going to be happening and why we need to vote in favor of that. So, Dyer?
Hank, I appreciate the opportunity, and Mike, I know, does as well. You said it's very important. It is. We're talking about whether Monroe Regional Medical Center, which has been in this community for 115 years and has been providing service to everybody in this community, regardless of financial circumstances and their ability to pay for their health care, whether that stays the way it is or whether the hospital is leased for 40 years to a for-profit corporation. And we think there are a lot of things that the community needs to be aware of, and the Friends of Monroe is a group that's just regular folks from around the community, but who've been here, who've used the hospital, who have a sense of what this thing is all about, have been attending board meetings in order to be sort of up on it all, want to get the word out, want to make sure that the voters are knowledgeable and know what the situation is, so they can make an informed decision. It's going to be interesting. The November ballot, the last item on the ballot, is the referendum for the bond issue for Monroe Regional Medical Center, and if the ballot passes, if folks vote yes, then Monroe is going to basically stay a not-for-profit hospital. It's going to be locally controlled by the Board of Trustees, who are appointed by the County Commission. It is going to be open so that you and I can go to board meetings and find out what's going on. We can get copies of the records, not medical records, of course. That the law won't allow that, but other records. So we know what's happening with our hospital. It's going to stay a safety net hospital, which means basically it'll take care of everybody in the community. And all hospitals don't do that, but regardless of if people have insurance or don't have insurance, it'll still the doors are open and it's going to accept those patients and take care of them. It is that kind of thing that we have great concern about. And well, let me kind of give you a sense of what the Board of Trustees has been up to, and then maybe from there we can get some callers and some questions. They've looked at the financial situation of the hospital, and appreciate we're in a rather down economy, and because of that economic circumstance, we've got a lot more people, unfortunately, who are unemployed in Marion County, and those people lost their jobs and lost their insurance when that happened, and so the number of people in Marion County who can't pay their hospital bills has gone up. And in addition, the federal government circumstances, the state government circumstances, there have been lots of cuts, and so seniors who are on Medicare and ladies, pregnant women and children who are on Medicaid have basically those reimbursements have all been cut to the hospital, and so the financial situation of the hospital has become more critical. They're financially okay, but the bottom line is basically doesn't exist at this point. Their profit margin is let's say it's zero, and as they're trying to take care of the hospital and make sure that all the things that need to be done on an annual basis can get done, don't have the money to do that unless they draw from reserve funds, which they've accumulated over the years, but those are being cut. Got to stop that. Now, hopefully, the economy is going to get better over the coming years, and right now it looks like things are starting to look a little more positive, and that's good. And hopefully, we'll have some resolution to what's going to happen with the Obama, what's called Obamacare. See who gets elected. We'll see where the politics of all of that goes. But the solutions to that are unclear. Well, the Board of Trustees has looked at the potential financial implications if things don't improve, and they decided to take a look at two options for the community. One option was to basically put the hospital up for a 40-year lease to an outside for-profit corporation, and there are three organizations that still are in the running. And they've been interviewing them. They've been getting information on them. And on the other side of it, they said the voters ought to have an opportunity to decide this thing. And so they've basically put up a referendum issue on the ballot. And the net of that is, if it passes, there will be about $65 million, which will be available for the hospital for support of its financial bottom line for the next 5 years. Now, that's going to cost. And there's a lot of discussion about how much is it going to cost me, because it goes to a 1 mil property tax, which the people in Marion County would have to pay for a maximum of 5 years. Then it sunsets. But what's the implication for that? Talk to the property appraiser's office, and it's interesting. Well, let me back up. They looked first at the potential of a sales tax, because lots of people talk about the fact that sales tax is a broad tax and more people would be paying and so forth, and there just isn't a sales tax that would work. There are several options, but the way the legislature structured those, they just wouldn't solve the problem. So the trustees looked at the various property tax options, and the only one that would work out of the options is the one they picked. That's why we're where we are with a property tax. But the bottom line is, talking to the property appraiser's office, or property appraiser's office, they said if basically you went to the 75th percentile of the homeowners in Marion County, and by that I mean if you took all the homes in Marion County, lined them all up, and went from the lowest property value to the highest property value, and went from the bottom up to 75th percentile of all of those homes, the property value of that home, the assessed property value, would be $112,000. You take $50,000 off of that because of the homestead exemption, appreciate, and you're down to $62,000. And that means that for 75% of the homeowners in Marion County, and this is all kinds of homes now, but you're talking about $62 a year or less that the individual is going to have to pay for 5 years. So we're looking at $5 a month. We're talking Whopper and fries, okay, as the amount that people are going to have to pay to keep the hospital that's been taking care of everybody in Marion County here for the last 115 years. I think, from my perspective, we need to put on the table what Monroe is. And I know most everybody in Marion County has got to be aware of its reputation from a quality service perspective. Monroe Regional Medical Center is and recognized, frankly, nationally as a hospital that's in the top 1% of all hospitals, and there's over 5,000 hospitals in this country, for quality. What a lot of people don't know is that from a cost perspective, it's also an extraordinary organization. Their cost of care for patients is in the lowest 12.5%. You're talking very high quality, very low cost. You're talking value for the people of Marion County, and that's something I think you don't just in a time when we're in tremendous change with the economy in turmoil, getting better, I think, but it's going to take some time. When we have the healthcare industry in tremendous flux, where's it going to go? We don't know, because we don't know what's going to happen. We've got a Supreme Court decision and all this sort of business with what's going to happen with our national health care or not, all that sort of business. That's the wrong time to be taking one of the finest assets that this community has, and one that I think the community holds up, the country holds up as special, and turning it over to a for-profit corporation to take and then do what with. And the concern is that and for-profit is good. I mean, the country has been built on the competition of the for-profit industry across the United States. But a for-profit business has to look at the bottom line. I mean, you've got to satisfy the stockholders. And so on a quarterly basis, you've got to do what you got to do. Not-for-profit, Monroe's a not-for-profit hospital. It always has been. And frankly, before 50 years ago, in the history of this country, all hospitals were not-for-profit hospitals. Because it's in a sense, a charitable service that you're providing, and there's an awful lot of charity that Monroe provides, frankly. But if the for-profit hospital takes over, what potentially is going to change? Don't know. Monroe has OB. Monroe has pediatrics. Monroe has services that the other hospitals don't have. Every hospital doesn't need to provide every service, but the community needs those services. Somebody needs to do them. And Friends of Monroe believe that we need to keep those services in Marion County regardless. Delivered 2,700 babies at Monroe last year, and they needed to be delivered here in Marion County and not someplace else. There are, I think, an awful lot of things that speak to the necessity of keeping this hospital as it is, but the public is going to have to make that decision.
And there's so many important points to make so that the voting public can make a valued decision here, an informed decision. One of the other things that most people don't know is that Monroe employs about 2,700 people, but they are in an economic generator of how they impact the community economically. Is they generate another 2,500 jobs through all of the people that they do business with, and so that's over 5,000 jobs that are associated with this hospital. Now, if you just lose 5%, and you have to presume if you're going to make that bottom line, because this hospital is well managed, it's got the great services, and it's a great facility. So how do you change that bottom line? One must presume that there's going to be a loss of jobs. If you lose 10% of the jobs that associated with Monroe, that's 500 jobs gone. We see all the time the investments our community's making in the millions of dollars to try and bring jobs to Marion County. So not only is it a great value, but it's a great economic generator as well for Marion County. The other point I think that is needing to be told, Dyer, is that this hospital keeps its doors open to everyone, but in a for-profit environment, the industry standard is that if you don't have health insurance, then they kind of look at you with three things in mind. If you present yourself to an emergency room in America, you will be treated. That's no matter what the hospital is. But the three things that they will do when they're dealing with you is they'll diagnose you, they stabilize you, and they will transfer you. That's an industry standard that is well advertised and is available for anyone to look up. So the question becomes, where will they transfer you to? So, the hospital is a great value. It's well ran. And I think most people get that, because we meet people all the time, Dyer, as we're out doing these presentations. Out of those 1,700 people that volunteer at that hospital, I think we must have met several hundred of them as we go out and talk. But the thing that we get is that it's a great value. It's well supported. It's the heart of the community. Most people want to know, well, what's it going to cost? And you did, that pointing out that 75% is about $5 a month, a Whopper and a fry. But the 50 percentile, if you go to the 50 percentile, it's going to be about $250 a month. It's going to be about $27 a year, something like that. So the question strongly becomes, how important is it to the community to keep this option available? Those people doesn't have insurance, they have to have a place to go. And it's just, we've heard testimonies from all sorts of people. My dad was born there, my mother was born there, I was born there, my grandfather passed away there. So, this hospital for 115 years is well grounded in this community.
Yeah.
And,
a lot of veterans go there, because the VA hospital is 35 miles up the road. I mean, that's not always a practical thing to do, to travel 35 miles to enter yourself into the hospital. So an awful lot of veterans go there. Almost all the ones I talk to are real happy with the care there. Tell me, you know, you've been out on the stump. Both of you been out on the stump. If there's opposition, is it just the idea that there's a referendum on the ballot and then they don't like that idea? Because I think it's a great idea. It gives the people a chance to choose. But I mean, where is the opposition coming from, Mike? I know you've been out there quite a bit.
I'll let Dyer speak to that as well. But you know, we're hearing that the numbers are really moving when people hear. We're going to get $340 million for this hospital. We're going to get like $200 million at closing. And that's impressive. And I think it's moving people to say, well, why do we want to tax ourselves and allow, you know, when we can let this people come in and give us a huge chunk of money like that. And we don't need to tax ourselves. Well, the value of the hospitals is forgiven when you enter into that conversation. The $200 million that they all talk about, Hank, $100 million of that would go to the county commissioners to provide a health care structure for health care in the community. $100 million would stay with the hospital trustees for indigent care. Now, you know, the county commission would manage that $100 million. The county commission is very political and it's always changing. And the $100 million that comes to the hospital district, historically, when you look at these deals around the state, that money lasts about 10 years. So if they have the hospital lease for 40 years and the money only lasts 10, who's going to pay the other 30 years? What happens when the money's gone?
Right.
So we're hearing, you know, a lot of people think, or some people think, not a lot, but some people think that those numbers are really impressive, and we just need to go ahead and sell the hospital. And Dyer,
but I think you were right earlier. I think the big concern that folks have is we're talking about a tax, and anything is too much. That kind of thought. I guess the question that people have to roll in their mind when they get to the polls or whenever they vote, early voting or whatever, but is what is it that they're giving up? And for an awful lot of people who we've seen, as Mike and I have talked across the community at meetings with lots of people, the thought that we've seen coming back to us is we're giving up way too much, and we're getting into a situation where we don't know what the situation's going to be in 5 years. We don't know what the situation's going to be in 10 years with our hospital. I think we have to appreciate, if you get into a 40-year lease, you're really talking about selling the hospital. I mean, 40 years, 2 generations, a long time. Okay, and so you're getting out there so far. If you look at what has happened with other organizations in this community in that period of time, real questions. Let me give you a for instance, and I think we're all familiar with the situation now with Silver Springs. I got here in 1968. It was a pristine, beautiful circumstance out there, and about 19 years ago now, the state bought it. The state leased it back to the people they bought it from. Those people basically subleased it, sold the lease to another organization. Those people sold the lease to another organization. We're now 19 years down the road, and what we've got is Silver Springs with our county commission saying maybe the buildings really ought to be bulldozed, and we know what's going on with the quality of the water and so forth, and that isn't all the lessee's problem. I mean, that gets to what's going on with the properties around it and so forth, but still, who owns it now? Not the people who owned it originally, not the people who leased it originally, okay? What happens if 4 or 5 years down the road, whoever buys this thing, leases it for 40 years, gosh, we don't think this thing's going to work out for us. What then? Okay? And what happens to the services that are being provided now then? And what happens to the quality of care then? What happens to the cost to the people of Marion County then? Okay? I mean, there's just an awful lot of ifs. And we talk about $200 million, $340 million, and really $200 million is the upfront money. You add another $150,000 $150 million, excuse me, on there because of a building program that the trustees want to get accomplished, and the people who are bidding on it are being told you're going to have to do a building program, and they're all saying fine. Well, I've been here. I was CEO at the hospital for about 28 years, and I've been here since '68 with the hospital, and so been here for a long enough period. The time that I was actually with Monroe, we had 6 major building programs. Okay, and a lot more than just one. The community continues to grow. Well, what are they going to do 7, 8, 9 years down the road when they have to do the next building program? Are they going to do it or not?
And
What happens after that? Foundation's another thought. Yeah, Mike.
Well, yeah, and this is going to the difference between a for-profit and a not-for-profit. That's really what this is showing. In this not-for-profit situation, we have a foundation at Monroe that raises in the millions of dollars a year to support the hospital. Most recently, people would remember that they built the children's ER. Now, that was $2.5 million. It was paid for by the foundation. Will the community come forward and write these big checks to a private corporation? I don't think so. When you look at the difference between a for-profit and not-for-profit as well, you have to look at here's an example. Moody's investors say that Monroe Hospital is 6th in the nation in its payer mix. Those are the people that come into the hospital and seek services, and those who have Medicare, Medicaid services. Now, that means they're number 6th in the nation. Those are the lower paying services. Return on the value of the money that the hospital is having to pay to provide those services. So that's a real challenge. So when you look at the economic environment the hospital operates in, Hank, you're really none of that changes. Day one, when the for-profit takes over, all of that is still here. So how will they make money? The money that the hospital is asking for will stabilize the hospital. It'll give it some breathing room for 4 or 5 years in order for it to get beyond this economic period and get back to making money. It can do that. It has made money in the past. The other important thing is that it is low cost. It's not a lot of money per individual, although we're respectful of that.
Michael, take a look at you and we're kind of rushing through this morning.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a couple of minutes left, but take a look if you would. We've got about almost 3 weeks left before the elections. Before this is going, I like to see it looks like a simple vote no would be talking about privatization, and or yes would be public. But I like to see the actual wording on how it's worded. You just kind of you're just touching on it this morning.
Yeah.
So maybe we could come back again near the end of the month sometime if you could.
We
take
would
a
love
look
to
at your
do that.
schedule.
Be happy to.
And I've got some questions. I'm sure these guys got some questions.
Yeah.
I'm sure. We're kind of just wrapping it up now. So I like to get into a little bit more detail. My concern always in other communities have done this, and then they deal with corporations that are no longer there.
Exactly.
That they didn't make enough money, and all of a sudden you're dealing with a corporation that's filing for bankruptcy someplace. Then what happens to the service for your community? So there's a lot of things to discuss, and I'm sure there's probably a lot of pros and some cons too, some negative. I want to kind of discuss that a little bit more in detail. So if you could take a look at your calendar, I'll get back with you, Mike. We'll look at a date that works for everybody. Get back in here. We'll be thinking about some things. I'm sure the folks out there will be thinking about some questions. And we'll get a little closer to the election.
We'd love to come back and take
come on back. What I need to do now is just remind you that Ford Lincoln made this all possible, and we appreciate all their service and all their hard work in the community, and so did Roberts Funeral Home and Cemeteries and all those good folks out there in WOCA, so we appreciate it. Chappie, do you want to say something?
Yes, there's an excellent pamphlet here. The Future of Monroe Regional Medical Center is in your hands. Where can we get a copy of this? For the
Absolutely. Here at the station.
We're gonna leave a bunch here at the station. Mike's got some. You can get some in my office if you like. I'll keep them down there. You can call my office at 433-2320.
You can also get them at the United Way.
At United Way. This is an important issue. Whether you're for it or you need to really be an informed voter. There's a lot of things on the ballot besides the folks. This is one of the most important things on the ballot this year because it's really about the future of this hospital and really, in some ways, the future of Ocala and Marion County in many ways. So we need to be on top of this. I want the veterans certainly to participate. I personally hope that you support it and support the hospital, but you need to be informed. So we're going to do another show a little bit later in the month and get some pamphlets, and we'll be glad to get them to you. If you can't get them, we'll mail them out to you. Just let us know. Call that number, get with the radio station, and we'll try to get everybody informed, Dyer.
We appreciate the opportunity very much and look forward to talking again.
Come on back. Well, listen, guys, we gotta run. I want to thank you for your service, and as I tell you every week, God bless America, everybody.
God bless America, my home sweet home.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala. The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Life jackets save lives. Wear it, Florida. A mix of sun and clouds today and pleasant this afternoon with a high of 83 to 87. It'll be mainly clear tonight, those ranging from 62 in a few inland spots to near 70 at the beaches. Mostly sunny tomorrow, nice refreshing breeze with low humidity, the high 82 to 86. On Saturday, clouds and sun and breezy. There may be a shower near the coast, the high 82 to 86. From the Florida Weather